Welcome back to Terpies, back with another weekly video for the channel. As you can see, we're starting out in the VivoSun Grow Tent room. Give you guys a quick update, as last video we ended up transplanting the 3 tents that we do have in here, with about 90 or so plants combined with the 6 light room downstairs. So it's been about 5 days since transplanting these clones into these 1.6 gallon cocoa bags. Everything's growing very nicely. Seems like they have grown out of whatever funk that they were in by getting these yellow edges on their leaves like this. These plants with the yellow tags we mentioned in the previous video, but I'll mention it again in here, came from a different source, and the clones weren't 100% the strongest. The ones with the tags inside like this are my clones from the rooftop. Much bigger difference in clone quality, as you can see. We're moving past that. It looks like everything's super healthy over here. We're not going to be using the Hawaiian Rain because it's not the strongest plant in here, so we're going to remove that and replace it with the super buff cherry over here. But everything else is looking really good. We did have one plant die, which is the LA banana cake, so we're not going to be using that. I replaced it with a slurricane over here. So just to go over the projects again, we have the orange kush cake getting reversed to the 9 strains to make feminized seeds. Then we got permanent marker here crossed with 9 strains to make feminized seeds. Over here we have right here 2 of them, devil's cherries, which is going to be crossed by 18 strains in here. The reason why we're in here today is we have these extra clones up here that are fully rooted, ready to go. Just some extra ones. So what I'm going to do is set up a 4x4 tent frame here, put an extra light that I have for now, have the plants vegging under that for about 2 to 3 weeks while I have another complete setup like this at a different location. It's just finishing its grow and it'll be harvested in a week. Then we'll give it about 7 to 10 days of dry time for that project and bring that entire setup over here and replace it with the tent frame and light that we have here. So we'll have 5 lights in this room with 4 different breeding projects, all for seeds. So pretty excited about that. So I'll set up the time lapse of us disassembling the frame from the rooftop, and we'll also take a look at the plants on the rooftop quickly before we come back down here and assemble that temporary setup. Okay, so we're back in the grow tent room. It's been 7 days since transplanting the clones behind me into all the grow tents, and a few days later we ended up adding temporary setup right here, which will eventually be a full grow tent setup. But I wanted to give you guys a quick look at the plants in this room, as they have been exposed to this building and water situation for 2 days less than downstairs in the 6 light room, which we'll take a look at after this update in this room. The plants downstairs are not looking as good as up in here. So I just wanted to document both rooms at the same time, and that one being 2 days longer being exposed to the growing environment. So here are the clones that we didn't end up transplanting. You can see how the stems are still, if it focuses, let me get into better light here. The stems are still pretty green. There is some purpling going on, and obviously some deficiencies showing on the clones, like this one right here. That could be from the roots being root bound right now, because they have been in these little plugs for a very long time. But overall, they are still healthy, and most of the stems are still green, as you can see. They are growing, just being exposed to the light that's being flooded out of the grow tents to being there. We have had our VPD around 1.0, give or take a 0.1 or 0.1.5 in this space during lights on, and then during lights off the humidity does get a little bit higher, so we end up with a 0.8 VPD in here. So these ones were still exposed to this room just like these clones, but they were transplanted a few days after those ones were transplanted into the grow tents. So let's take a closer look and show you exactly what's going on. So as you can see, deficiencies going on, and then the purple stem going on. Some are worse than others. This is the same issue that we've been battling for the last 6 or 7 months. It really is frustrating, as it looks like overwatering, but I've only watered these plants one time. They're far from oversaturated, and some areas look like it's a nutrient deficiency, but I'm giving the same exact nutrients, same EC level, same batch, same everything to other plants at the other location, and no issues over there. But for some reason in this building, it just doesn't work. We know that we have taken care of all the air quality issues in here, but for some reason, as soon as I want to push the plants a little harder, they're just not accepting the nutrients or absorbing it properly. Like, they are growing. From here up is all fresh new growth. This clone was transplanted a day after the rest of these, and the top of it was at the top of this bag, and as you can see, it's much taller now. This is all new growth up here, super healthy, but for some reason the older growth is just not having it and is slowly dying off. Same thing with over here. Some plants are worse, like this. It depends on the strain, really. Some people might say that this is bug issues. I have sprayed these plants. Yesterday when the lights turned off, I came in here and sprayed all the plants underneath, above, all the pots, all the grow tent walls and floor, along with all this flooring out here. Just seems that the longer they're exposed to this room, and if I push them to a normal growing environment for vegetative purposes, they just are not accepting it at all. These ones aren't doing too bad. I have kept the lower power on this one compared to the grow tents, just to see the results, see if pushing it a little bit less will keep them healthier for a longer period of time. But that shouldn't be the case, because we're not even pushing these plants to their full potential, even somewhat close to what I've been doing in the past or at my other locations. So that's pretty much all that's going on in this room right now. I'm just monitoring the situation and going to be spraying the plants with Athena IPM every other day. And hopefully, if there is any bug issues, that resolves it. I don't see any bugs, and I've took a microscope to both the growing medium and the underside of the leaves. It looks like thrips, it looks like russet mites or some type of mite issue, but for some reason, it's just not adding up or being located. Like, super nice new growth, but for some reason, they're just not liking it, the older growth. Anyways, that's a quick update in this grow room. I know I talk a lot about this situation, but it's super frustrating, and if anybody has the same issue in the future, they can reference these videos and see exactly what happened to me, and if we end up resolving it, we end up resolving it. Previously, when I thought I had resolved all this, I was just keeping one clone or two clones under a single T5 LED light, so I wasn't pushing them very hard, and they could stay alive, no problem, way past the 7 to 12 day mark, which is when they normally die when I try and grow them at a normal pace. Now that they're transplanted into the bigger pots and they want to grow faster, that's when the issue starts to arise. Some will say that it's the growing medium then, because we put it into the larger pots and then the issue shows itself. But again, I'm using these exact bags, this exact cocoa at another location, and none of those issues have happened. We'll head downstairs to the 6-light FlexStar room, and we're gonna do some maintenance on the plants there to cut off all the damaged older leaf that is showing just like this one, and see how they recover after that. And I'm gonna be spraying that room just like I did with this room every other day for a week and a half, and see how those results happen. Okay, so we're down here in the 6-light FlexStar room. You can see the clones are much bigger over the last, I think it's 10 days since transplanting. So we'll go over the damage that we're seeing here. It looks like overwatering and some nutrient deficiency. You can see the stems on these ones are starting to go purple. I was pushing these ones much harder than the plants upstairs, but I reduced the light power just to make sure that that wasn't the cause of this, as they aren't uptaking nutrients or water at the rate that they should be. But they are growing. The new growth is healthy and nice. It was growing super fast. Like, you can see everything above here is new, and everything below older has some damage on it. I just sprayed this entire room with Athena IPM when the lights did go off. They just came on about 15 minutes ago, so you're seeing them just wake up. And some plants or strains are more prone to it than others. Like this Devil's Cherries here, super strong plant. It's growing nice, healthy growth. It's a little bit lighter green in the center there, but the stems are going purple. We are rocking a, let me see if you can see the reflection past here, 8 degrees Fahrenheit, 69% relative humidity. So 1.04 VPD you can see on there. And we're using 50% power, which is 360 watts on these 720 watt LEDs from FlexStar. These are the Pro model. We'll go down the other side. This is all white runts over here. If you didn't follow along with the transplanting, we can see on every single one, the top new growth is looking good. The bottom older growth, not so nice. So we'll see if the spraying does help that situation. I will probably order another batch of nematodes to put in all of these pots, just in case we have any russet mites or anything like that in the growing medium, which I can't find, but you never know. So I'm going to cover that basis anyways. Here to the wall is all rainbow fruits. They're all showing the exact same signs of low nutrients or nutrient deficiency, but they are super hungry, as these are the ones that have the most purple stems and most yellowing on the top new growth. So dialing back the light should help with that, hopefully. As you can see, this is very bad. So my goal in here tonight, I'm gonna set up on time lapse right now, and then everything below from the older growth, I'm just gonna remove all this extra large fan leaf that has damage. I'll cut that all off. So there's only healthy growth still on the plants, and it will give us less plant material to spray with the Athena IPM going forward. So hopefully everything that has damage on it will be gone, and it will be easy to see any damage in the future if this continues after the spraying is done in a week or so. We're at day 10 since transplanting. Usually the plants die by that time. We have improved the space overall with our improvements, like the 4025 air ionizer over there, our HEPA filter doing air circulation inside the room and filtration, things like that. Everything else is working very well. Happy with the entire setup in here. Just still need to get the irrigation done, but I'm holding off on that until the plants are healthy and growing properly. I just trying to stay focused right now on keeping the plants alive and stopping whatever this issue is. Anyways, I'll throw the time lapse up now of me cleaning up the plants, and then we'll take a quick look at them after, along with our clones that we took off the rooftop again for a second round. Okay, so just finished some maintenance on the plants, getting rid of most of the damaged plant material. This is from the entire room collection. Some other plants like this, but the permanent marker is pretty bare right now. Hopefully that grows back over the next little bit. Some of these 3 strains right here are really good. Devil's Cherries, Lemonberry Candy, Orange Kush Cake, and Mandarin Cookies. All super strong, resilient plants. Really not doing too much on the whatever the issue is. I'm starting to think it's bug related now that I've gotten in here and really did some maintenance on this one, on all the plants in here for that matter. Just taking off a few extras on that plant that I noticed on this side of the table, but overall everything's looking really good. White runts over here after the cleanup looking much better. I have reduced the power level down 5%, just so I'm not pushing them as hard, and then we'll get in here and continue the spraying of the plants with the Athena IPM, and I'll get nematodes on order from Copart, and that should resolve any bug related issues we have in this space, if there are any, which I'm not going to say that there aren't, but it's looking like that might be the final cause of everything that we have been going on in here in the past. I think maybe the combination between the air quality and bug related issues were killing off the plants. There was just too much load in here from negative effects, so we'll move forward from these things and hopefully have a successful harvest in here. It's been a real battle, as you guys have seen if you've been following along. So I'm gonna end the work for tonight, as it's like 8 or 9 p.m. right now here, and I don't want to go into any other grow spaces now that I've done any maintenance on these plants, just in case there are bugs on these plants. Okay, so it's been a few days since the last update. We're back in the grow tent room, and this room is not doing as good as the room downstairs, the 6-light FlexStar room, but we'll check out this one first, and then we'll do some work in here, like clean up the plants after taking a look at them. As you'll see, some of the leaves are quite damaged. We have resolved some issues going on in here, as the plants are surviving much longer periods of time than they have ever been able to survive in this building at all before. A couple things have happened over the last few days that contributed into the plants not being as healthy as they should be right now. One of my staff members that works downstairs opened up one of the sewer septic vents, the drains that I had covered with aluminum foil as a floor drain. He opened that up without my knowledge, and I think it was open for a few days. Over those few days, I noticed the plant's decline in health. I ended up just coming across it later on, like after the 3 days, and I covered that back up. Since then, I've been opening the door that goes to the exterior of this room for 20 to 30 minutes per day, just to get some air exchanging. So I have purchased a fan, a filter, a sheet of plywood. So my plan is I will replace this pane of glass over here above this door. This is a door that goes out to the outside. I've been opening that for the 20 to 30 minutes per day just to get some fresh air in here, and the plants seem to like it. So what I have done is purchased a piece of wood that I'll put in place of that glass. I'll put a inline fan with a filter on it, and then I think 3 or 4 times per day, I'll turn that fan on for 5 days, which pushes air into the room and will create a positive pressure environment in this space. So any locations where there might be a leak, like around this door, there are small amounts because I can't 100% fully seal that. They're in the corners are very difficult. So any air that comes into this room will get pushed out of those cracks and anywhere around these doors or the windows that I might have missed. So that will exchange the air in here and bring up the air quality if there is anything in this air going forward. Let's take a quick look at the plants overall. This is Ice Cream Cake, super healthy, vigorous plant, but we can see the damage that we've always been seeing in this building. This is what happens to the older leaves, and usually the stems go purple if the plant is really not enjoying the environment. This is the worst of it. And then other plants like this, see the size difference between this one and this one. This strain just gets affected more, and the stem, it goes purple. So with that vent being opened for the sewer septic, I think that was a cause of making these plants unhealthy again. And then to not only resolve that, but doing the room air exchanging combined with the Horty 25 air ionizer and the HEPA filter, I think we have fully resolved this building altogether. It's unfortunate that the staff opened that one vent, which really set us back into the damage zone, but we caught it, and I let everybody know, do not touch any of the drains or anything covered with like the silver tape. It looks like this. That's used for air ducting, like here. Anything in the building with that on it, do not touch, do not damage, do not open, anything like that. So they all got the message. Moving forward, this is the way the plants are looking right now. Much bigger than when we transplanted, so they are growing, just something's really holding them back from uptaking the proper amount of nutrients. Another thing I did over the last 3 days was I opened up a brand new cocoa bag. I emptied out some of the cocoa, filled up this container about 3/4 of the way, and then I took our RO water and filled up the rest of the container. Let it sit for 5 or 6 hours so it fully saturated the cocoa, and anything in the cocoa transferred into the water and vice versa. Then we took our pH meter, put it in that slurry, took the reading. It was quite low, around a 5.0 pH level. Then we did that same test with our nutrient mix, which was a 6.0 pH and a 2.6 EC. We did that in a new container. We saw that the cocoa and the nutrient mix was then reading with our pH meter. We were getting a reading of 5.3, meaning the cocoa was very low in pH coming straight out of the bag. So what I did to resolve that is I took another test inside the plant, just like this. I pushed it right in. This is not the proper pH meter. I just want to say that. First, you can get a soil tester pH meter, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm using. I pushed this into the growing medium to get a general idea of what's going on in here, and it was at 5.4. So that might be another cause of the plants not doing great. Might be the combination of the air and the pH being off. That does not give us a reason why these plants survive as soon as I remove them from this building with no other changes, not watering it, just removing it and taking it to another building, it becomes healthy again. So the cocoa alone is not enough to be making this much damage on the plants. So I believe because of the cocoa being a little bit lower in pH and the air quality being a little bit off is the combination of what's holding these plants back. We have obviously did a really good job at improving the air quality in here. So I believe with the air exchanging or a positive pressure air system that we're gonna set up both in this room and the room downstairs, combined with the higher pH that I did for the growing medium, which I'll go over what I did now. I mixed new nutrients and I raised the pH level of this reservoir to 6.7. I did this a test before giving it to the plants, but with the same growing medium, which is the cocoa, we took a 6.7 nutrient mix, put it in one of these jugs with the cocoa, let it drain out, and then we took another reading and we ended up with a 6.1 bouncing off a 6.2. So a little bit higher. We wanted around a 6.0. But I was happy enough with that to give the plants 1 liter mix of the 6.7 pH nutrient mix. So we give every plant 1 liter. We then took a reading again, just to confirm, on every single plant. There's a lot of work to go through that entire process, but on average, all the plants are now at a 6.1. Very happy with that. And we noticed that not so much in this room, but downstairs, the plants really sprung back to life and almost tripled in size since then. Since these ones, they have slowly stopped becoming purple on the stems and are going back to green. This one used to be fully purple, like this stem right here. The main stem is now zebra stripes of purple and green, so that's good to see. That was quite a bit of talking, but we'll set up the time lapse now. I'm gonna get in here and clean up the plants and take off any of the larger, older fan leaves that are damaged quite a bit, because those will never recover. So I wanna get those off the plants, because not only are they not gonna recover, but when I'm spraying the plants with Athena IPM to take care of any bug issues, if there are any, or just making sure that none come up, they get in the way. So I'm gonna remove those damaged leaves. That way when I spray, not only are we not wasting this spray on those leaves, but we can easily get to all the remaining leaves that are still on the plants. So I'll set up the time lapse now. I'll go through all the plants, clean them up, and then when the lights turn off tonight, I'll come back here again and spray all the plants. That way they can sit with the IPM on them during lights off. Okay, hope you like that little time lapse of cleaning out the plants. This is the amount that we took off from the 5 different grow lights going on. We didn't go super aggressive with the removal of the damaged leaves. We still kept a few on most of the plants. Like this one, this is cleaned up pretty good. This one, there's 2 big ones that are damaged, but I don't want to have the plants too bare like this plant. This is probably a plant that we're not going to use. Definitely not using this plant. I think there's a couple of them that I'm going to be replacing, but overall much cleaner. I think I missed this plant actually. We'll do that one quickly while I have you guys on video. It's a little more difficult to do one-handed, but we'll get it done. Just got to be a little bit more aggressive with the single hand, but that's all I really want to clean up on these plants. Nothing too aggressive. There we go. That's it. That's done. Overall, made the plants look a lot better, and now we can see if the plants get any worse. Like we'll keep an eye on this leaf, see if it gets any worse over the next few days. Nothing should get any worse now that we have figured out the vent being open and doing an air exchange once a day until we get the positive pressure system set up. Then we'll do four times a day, 5 minutes on, just to get some fresh air in here if there's low oxygen or something contaminating the air in here. Hope you guys like that. So let's head downstairs to the 6 light room for a quick update. Okay, so we're down here in the 6 light Flex Star grow room, where we can see that all the plants have really sprung back to life. Almost triple in size, maybe even more on some of the strains since we've transplanted. There are still the damage that was caused earlier, but the problem hasn't got any worse. So we're on the right track, like mentioned upstairs. These 3, definitely the worst out of the entire room. This is permanent marker, so we're just gonna keep an eye on these 3. But overall, they have not got worse since we did our pH level change in the growing medium. And for this room, all I'm doing is opening this window, and that's why those 2 fans are there. We'll go over, take a quick look at what I do. I have this one panel where I can open it. I'm not going to open it because it's nighttime outside, and all the bars can see in here quite easily when the lights are on in here. So I have these 2 fans that are pushing the air into the room with the window open during lights off, maybe for 30 minutes. That seems to help quite a bit. So my plan for this room is I'm going to take out this top panel glass right here, put a piece of wood, put a inline fan with a filter on the outside, and it'll push air into the room as a positive pressure, probably 3-4 times a day, 5 minutes each. And then any air that needs to leave the room will either go through this door or through this back opening. I've spray foamed this closed. It used to be a exhaust fan going outside. I don't know if I fully sealed it or not, but I'm pretty sure I did. But those are the 2 locations where air can escape from the room, and I'm pretty sure I sealed off this window 100% anyway, so the positive pressure will do a really good job in here once that is set up over the next couple days. White runs here, looking good. All have pretty much recovered, bushed out. I also did a topping the other day when I was cleaning up the old growth which I just showed you in the time lapse upstairs. I did this room a few days ago and it made a noticeable difference on the plants. So some leaves still have a little bit of damage that have grown since then, but overall nothing has got worse, just like I've been saying. So we're on the right track. This is much farther than we've ever got in this building. Super happy to see that. If you haven't been following along with me for a long time, then you might think that I don't know what I'm doing, but this is a freak accident of some sort. I've never experienced what I've experienced in this building, and over 10 people in general in Thailand, in my general area, have all been discussing with me issues that they are having with their buildings also, and quite a few of them have just given up on their location and ended up getting a new location, and then they never had the same results ever again, no issues. Just like me, in this building, I've never had this issue before. My commercial building, which is a 300 light facility, nothing happened like this. I've never had a plant die fully, and in here we've had 7 rounds of plants die within 2 weeks. So just putting that out there for all the commenters that are saying I should just give up or I don't know what I'm doing. That's a note for you guys. But overall, we're set up pretty good now. We'll get the positive pressure air system set up, let these plants recover over the next week or so. Now that they are topped, we're gonna get a nice even canopy, it looks like. Give them about 7 to 10 days more of veg time, a little bit longer than I expected, just because of this issue that we had going forward. But we're on the right track. Hope you guys are excited to see what comes out of here using the under canopy lighting and the 720 watt FlexStar above canopy lights. Our reheat system or hack of the electrical heaters in here combined with our AC system for dehumidification. I'm pretty excited. We'll get the automated irrigation system set up. We're also going to install a open sprinkler system. I don't know if you guys have known that from my commercial facility, but we're gonna incorporate that with the Pulse dashboard. So we have full automation and data collection of everything. We got the Pulse Pros here, one in the corner over there, one in the corner there. And we got a THV sensor, temperature, humidity, and vapor pressure deficit, which is connected to our Pulse hub. Another THV sensor here going into our irrigation room, and our pH and EC meters, which go into here. We will start putting these 2 sensors into our reservoirs here. And we got RO water hooked up to all 3 tanks here. So we're pretty much all set, ready to go. We just need to finish off the automated irrigation, which we've already done the piping for. We just need to connect the end of the pipe there to our tables. Not a big deal. Here's some clones that we took off the rooftop. Honestly, I'm not paying much attention to them. I took them and just left them sitting in here for the last week, probably. I think it's been the 5 days or so. Take the dome off once a day, give them a little fan, put it back on top, just like that for both the trays. We do have some that are drying out there because the plug is a little bit dry. I got my buddy to help me with these. So it was his first time getting the moisture content level correct in the plugs here. I'm just training him so he can learn the processes, because he doesn't know anything about growing, but we'll get him there in the future. But overall, you can see these ones got a little bit too dry and they're drooping over. So next time we'll get him to get the moisture content in these cubes a little bit more, and those will survive without any issues. Current growing conditions in here, it's always hard to show you guys this, but 80 degrees and 71% relative humidity. The humidity is a little bit lower than I would like to see, but we're not doing too bad at a 0.95 VPD. We're okay with that. Anywhere around a 1.0 or 0.9 to 1.0 is good for vegetative growth. I'm happy with that. Some people like to do a little bit higher humidity, but this is okay for what I have going on right now. In here, we're not gonna do anything today. We're just in here looking at the plants. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are about this room. I'm pretty happy with the outcome so far. Okay, so you've all been asking for it, if we're ever going to see the large commercial facility on the channel again. Well, the time has come. let's head over there right now and I'll show you a quick update on the HVAC system, which was the last time I ever showed you guys on the channel, how they didn't seal any of the air ducting over there. Well, there's quite a bit of water leaking going on, so now the insulation needs to be all redone before we can grow in there, which we are about to start growing in a week. So let's take a quick trip over there so we can take a look at what's going on. Okay, so we're over here at the commercial facility. You can probably tell that I'm above the grow rooms right now. So I'm standing on top of the ceiling. Below me is the irrigation room, and behind me you see flower room 2, flower room 1, and veg room. These are the HVAC systems. Last time you saw this facility on the channel, we went over the problems I've had with this air duct install. Just going to give you guys a quick update, and then we'll go downstairs and take a look at the inside of the grow rooms and how they are currently and how we're setting up for the next round of plants. Okay, so here's a better look at the air ducting. We got veg room right here, flower room 1, and then flower room 2. We have flower room 3 over here, flower room 4, dry room number 2. This will be dry room number 1 in the future, and then we have the trim room right there. As you can see, there's no air ducting for these rooms yet. These are future plans. If you're just joining the channel and haven't seen this facility yet, we built out half the facility first with 1 dry room, and then in the future, once we get these successful, we will build out the other flower rooms and dry room. Down the center here is our irrigation room, where you'll see our water tanks and valves and everything to feed the grow rooms. So let's take a walk over to the other side so you can have a closer look at the air ducting. We had a major issue with the install on here. We've probably had it redone or fixed probably about 6 or 7 times now. I'll just keep it short and sweet. Every bump here you see is a joint in the air ducting. So this is one section, one section, one section. The installers were subcontracted by the company that I hired to do this install for me. A very large company that I hired. They subcontracted it to a small company, and I wasn't aware of that. This small company really screwed us over and cut corners ridiculously amount, and pretty much made our entire first round of plants fail, as I wasn't able to reduce the humidity any lower than what was in the building, as there was a leak in every single joint, vertically here, horizontally going this way, and this way. They put no seals, no gaskets in between any of the joints without my knowledge, and I had a suspicion when each of these were never taped before. It's just a grommet kind of holding on the insulation to the metal air ducting on the other side. I could feel air coming out of here, which meant behind this insulation was positive pressured, so the air was coming from somewhere. Turned out that it was all these joints. They came back here once and they said it was just the sides, and that there was silicone or gasket in between all the flat sections. It was just the corner that needed a sealant. They did that, still leak issues. They came back again, put silicone or sealant all the way around these joints, on everywhere, all 3 rooms and the dry room over there. Unfortunately, we thought that was okay until I put a little bit of a cut with a knife inside the insulation, and we still found that there was air coming out of the insulation. Then we cut this entire section open on all of them, and that was where the air was coming out next. So not only did we have air leaks here, down the side, down here, but that went for both the air return and the air feeds. Major issues. So that explains our humidity issues in our room, not being able to go down below 65, I think we had it, which was pretty much atmosphere humidity around here. What we were trying to do to resolve that first cycle of plants in this facility, I ended up taking out 50% of the plants in flower room 1 to see if we could reduce the humidity at all. And honestly, it didn't do very much, maybe 5% humidity drop in that room after taking out 50% of the plants, which confirmed that the HVAC system was a major issue in our situation over here. Unfortunately, the company started becoming unresponsive to us and not wanting to fix the issue anywhere past that. So here we are with another update
All the air leaks are pretty much fixed now in the air ducting, but we do have one section that still has air leaks along with water leaks from any time it rains in here. So here we are looking at flower room 2. This bottom section of air ducting is the air return. Air comes out of the center of the room, goes back to our AC system that's located outside. Everything above that is our air feeds. Let me go over here so you can have a closer look. We have 6 air feeds, 1 in each corner. 1, 2, 3, and then 1 in the back corner, and then 1 down the center of the room, 1 there and 1 there. So 6 air feeds and 8 air returns right in the center. So we kind of create a vortex inside the room of air circulating inside the room. So great airflow, love the design, no complaints there. What we have the issue with going forward, as you can see, I've pulled off myself the insulation off of this section of air ducting up until this point, both the horizontal or verticalies and everything below, all the way up to there. Everything that is currently pulled off, you can see the green insulation, that was all soaking wet with water. We can confirm these water puddles that form on top of the roofs or the ceiling panels. You can see just how dirty it is from all the rainwater that got into the facility from the setup. We can see that on the air feeds, this was all wet also, creating a very damp and humid environment, not only on the outside of the air ducting, but there's water inside the air ducting collecting about an inch or 2 here, because when we come over here, we can see that the this offshoot is about an inch or 2 higher than this trunk right here. So I believe that there was this much water sitting in the bottom of this air duct, unfortunately. Once I pulled it off, all the water was just pouring out of here for an hour or 2, dripping from all the holes that were in here. The insulation was holding quite a bit of water, both up here and on the second level. Unfortunately, the person that installed the AC, like mounted it in place, was not the same people that did the air ducting. The air conditioning on the outside is tilted towards the building. Our roof is sloped this way, so water, all this water from the ceiling gets run off the roof, hits our AC system because the AC is slanted into our building. The water goes onto the top of the AC, slides into the building, fills our air ducts and everything, creating a high humidity environment on both the inside of the air ducting and our insulation. Once this style of insulation becomes wet, it's very hard to dry out unless you take it off like I have now. Again, I've taken pictures, sent it to the company that we hired to do this job. No response. My partner for this facility went all the way to Bangkok to confront that owner and got no response from that guy also. So we're just moving forward. We hired somebody else to install a roof extension on top of the AC system, along with putting new insulation onto these areas where I've already pulled the insulation off. So that's a quick update on what's going on with the HVAC system. I think after those 2 solutions of sealing those areas with the wet insulation, both on all the joints that have not been done by the previous people, along with the new insulation and the roof extension over top of the AC system, now no rain will be able to get to the AC system or run into the building. Those 2 big issues resolved going forward, and then let's go downstairs and take a quick look at the rooms and see what changes we've done in there, which is not much. We're just cleaning up and resetting the room for the plants that will arrive here in a few days. Okay, we're inside. This is flower room 2 right now. I'll give you guys a progress update of what we've done over the last couple days to reset this room. We've added these fans for under the tables for air circulation under there. That's what we were lacking on the last round. I'm not sure if I mentioned that in a video before or not. We'll go down here. This is the dry section where we're currently finishing up the vacuuming phase. First, we clean all the tables dry. We scrub them with a brush to get off any hard caked on stuff like this. And then we come back with the vacuum up all the dry material. Once that's all done, we get our pressure washer out. We put some soap in it, all-purpose soap, nothing too crazy. and we pressure wash all the tables. As you can see, they're wet and soaking right now. So we come back after they've soaked for a bit, use our pressure washer there to scrub everything with the pressure washer. Doesn't do the greatest job, but it is improving. And then you can see our final result right here compared to, this is the pressure washer. We've already vacuumed, pressure washed this, and then we come back in here with a isopropylene to scrub everything, get all the oils off, because we did use this area, these two tables, for trimming on our last harvest. So to get up all that residue from the trimming sessions, we use some isopropylene and it comes out brand new again. So this was just a test section. Once we're done our pressure washing, drying everything out, we'll come in here with the isopropylene, clean it all again. Currently, we are also doing recirculation on, you can see the drip going on right here. We have all-purpose cleaner and water mixture running through all these lines right now, cleaning out anything that might have been stuck into the drip emitters and the feed lines over the last few months since we haven't been growing. We just have them zip tied above the table for easier cleaning of the surface on the table, and it lets the cleaner flow through the drip emitters quite easily. After we're done with the all-purpose cleaner going through all the lines, we will get in here and change out all that water, flush it with straight water, and then do a bleach and water mixture at 20% bleach, 80% water. Let that run through the lines for an hour or two, and then we'll do another final rinsing of just straight water, and then we'll be ready to plant in here. Overall, pretty happy with this room, how we've set it up. Before, we didn't have these cross poles here for supports, and now these uprights are a little bit stronger than before. Still, these tables aren't the highest quality, so these table sides are not very strong. So once some plant weight gets on there, as you could see from our previous round of plants, we had some of them fall right over, which is a big issue, creating mold on those strains that did fall over. We ended up having to throw out over half of those strains that did fall over because we didn't want any issues with mold going forward. Okay, so it's pretty hot in here. I'm just gonna finish up for the day, do the final pressure washing and cleaning, and then head home and edit this video. So until next time, happy growing everyone. And remember to get out there and make it happen.